But this is not far from home. I only live about 10 miles away from here. I live in Newton Arts, and the man I'm going to interview is a well-known man in Northern Ireland and above even, and it's Dave Kane. Dave Kane from Dave Kane Cycles. You must have, if you're a racing lover, you will have heard about him, especially when you live in Ireland, and more specifically in, there's another word I have to practice once, and specifically, anyway, he got it dug into that, is especially Northern Ireland, to be honest. Very famous road, the Newton Arts Road. The Giro passed here a few years ago. That was in 2014, Dave. Yeah?
Indeed, yeah.
One of the biggest highlights here in Northern Ireland when it comes to big races. Everything was pink that day. And he was interviewed by a few TV stations, radio stations, newspapers, and the media press from the cycling world. But we, the Belgian Project, once going to interview that man as well, because I want to know about the past. Before I was here involved in cycling, I'm only involved in cycling in 2005. I live here since '89, but through circumstances, I got back into the race through my brother-in-law, Corbett McCann, at the time, who introduced me to cycling here again. And here we are, a few years later. Dave, how are you?
I'm good.
What age are you now, Dave?
I'm 80, coming 84.
84.
Still turning a bike, but pedal, but not really in anger. It's enjoyment.
Yeah. Is it electric now or just normal?
Yes,
electric now. Yeah. It's a great solution, because I'm thinking about buying one as well.
Gets me out and gets me over the hills, because like all athletes over the years you develop, and I've developed AF, which is very common against most athletes. It's just it comes with a territory of hard graft racing over the years.
You force your body a bit.
Yeah.
You get, and now you get the build when you get older. I have a pacemaker. It's not for the life I did in the last few years, but it was when I was young. I was doing things, but not too sporty now. It was other things I did, and you get the build. You get the build in the end. You have quite a long career. From 1957 you joined...
I joined the Northern Cycling Club. It's the only club I've ever been in. I've been on it all my life, and got in through, like everybody else in those days, the racing wasn't a big thing here. The club runs were. Club runs, and there was very few races. It was time trialling. So you rode the time trial, and you rode it. My first bike was actually fixed wheel, because we rode the track. I rode the grass tracks, and I was actually I was all Ireland champion in 1965 and 66, 2-mile grass track champion here, and there was a lot of grass meetings.
Right. Where was that held?
The one at Ravenhill, and I won the other one at Balmoral.
Right.
And a lot of the southern riders and all used to come up too, because grass track racing was right and popular.
Is that true that Glentoran had a grass track around the stadium?
That was even before me, but they did, yes.
Yeah. And I actually couldn't believe that. But they had one there, and I saw the people. I saw an old photograph, and I saw masses.
Even when I won the championship at Balmoral, it was packed with people there. And
it was popular at the time.
It was popular, and then I got into road racing as well then. And the big thing was in our club promoting the Tour of the North.
Right.
It was first promoted in 1956. I rode my first one in 59, and at that time I was young, like, and I was learning, but I used to go down south a lot, and I was a type of rider. I didn't hold back. I maybe was too ambitious, and I'd been up with the leaders one time, and I'd been half an hour behind the next time. And I remember the first Tour of the North I rode. I was very young, and I got into a break right away with three boys out of the Army Cycling Club and John Lackey, and over the Spelka Pass, about 3 minutes up, but they dropped me on the Boyne Wells, and by the time I finished in Bangor, I was about half an hour down. But I got a great rate up in the press for being aggressive, and I was always like that.
Right.
And then in the early 60s, I started to win races. I won my first race, I think I won, was in 1960. It was a race locally near here, in round by Ballygowan. And Donald Stewart had just come back from riding the World Championships, and I was actually very good because I beat Donald, and that was a big fella in my cap. And then I went down south a lot because the racing was bigger down there and harder. And in the early 60s, Bray Wheelers was really big, and there's a boy in our club, Jackie Corgan, used to take us to the races. Jackie's actually still riding this bike at 89, and we used to go down the weekends, and the races I wanted to ride and win was the Tour of Wicklow, because I could get up a hill well. 62 I went down and I won the Tour of Wicklow, and I was very pleased because I had beat 3 Bray men.
Right.
And one of them was Paul Elliott, Shay Elliott's brother.
Right.
And after the race, Jackie Corgan says, "Kane, you have to go down next weekend." He says, "Nobody's ever done the double, winning the Tour of Wicklow and then the Tour of Gaps the next week." And there's a bit of a story in this, Danny, because he says, putting pressure on me. But I went down and I was going well, and the Tour of Gaps was a bit different from the Tour of Wicklow. It was a bigger circuit.
Right.
But I went over every hill in the Wicklow Gap, and there's a hill called the Military Road, where that was the first climb. I attacked on it because I wanted to split the group up. And up near the top there was a preem, and over the preem another rider come by me with a Taltine jersey on. I had never seen him in my life again, and wondered who it was. And I went back to the motorbike and I said, "Tell Dickie Cumberford, who the hell's that boy?" He says, "That's Sean Dillon." He says, "Top NCA rider, but he's joined over associations and he wants to ride for Ireland." And me and Sean had a great battle that day, and I finally got rid of him on Lugalaw. I won it.
Right.
But we became good friends, and we got all Irish teams together. And he was around my age, 21. And we rode the Isle, the following year we rode the Isle of Man, and we come back, and there was a big race outside Dublin, and it finished in Phoenix Park, and we were coming in round the river, and Sean attacked our group. Unfortunately, he went round a corner on the wrong side of the road, and a Morris Minor was coming the other way, and he got killed.
Yeah.
Very young age.
For Belgium viewers and Dutch or continental viewers, here in Ireland, we race in traffic. Means we have coming traffic, right. So that's why, sorry for interrupting you, but the reason, of the accident.
Yeah. And it had it hard, that, because me and him was around the same age, and then his father and all, they put a big trophy up the next year, and I went down to try to win it, and everybody, all the heads were riding. Right. And it was a battle royal over about 90 miles in the Wicklow Mountains, and there was a group of us came together with about 10 miles to go, so it looked as if it was a sprint finish, which wouldn't suit me at all. Right. So I just kept attacking, and I finally got a few seconds, and I must have had no more than a lead of 10 seconds, but I held it to the line, right, and I won it, and I felt that it was a good to win it in his name, because like me, he was a hard rider. He wasn't a sprinter. Right. And to win it on my own,
I'm puzzled here now, because you were saying you were racing for Ireland, Team Ireland, but as an ordiner, because we were not under Cycling Ireland yet, were we? At the time?
You see, it was very good the way we done it, Danny. We had in the south there was the Southern Association, and then there was us up here, and we had an agreement with the world body to ride as an Ireland team. Right. We rode just as an all same as the boxers. Right. So I rode Commonwealth Games. I rode for Northern Ireland. And then in the big events like the World Championships and all, I rode for Ireland.
But living on the Newton Arts Road here in East Belfast, did that got you in problems
No.
over the...
Not really.
No.
Sports cuts down all barriers.
Yes,
So
that's true, but...
we never had a problem.
Yeah.
And I love getting away on the Irish teams, but cycling has changed so much now from then. I got picked for 62 World Championships, but they were only able to afford to send one rider from Ireland. So we were put in it. We were entered, but you had to pay your own way. Obviously, I couldn't afford to go, so you missed out on a few races like that. I remember, what year was it? I rode the Worlds in 65. Now, it wasn't too bad. We got looked after there because Jim McQuaid, Pat McQuaid's father, volunteered to go, as a spectator, but he would look after. There was only two of us picked.
Right.
Me and Noel O'Neill, because that's all I could afford to send. And Noel had won the All-Ireland Road Championships that day, and I had finished second to him. And it was in San Sebastian, and I rode a good race. I was in at the death leg, and I remember when I finished, Jim McQuaid's friend was there, and he says, "Kane, if you had a sprinted," he says, "coming there, you'd have moved about 10 places." And he says, "Jimmy, I was sprinting the whole last lap," I says, "to be in with that leading group, and this is the way it was." But then in 66, I got picked for the Worlds in Germany, in the Nürburgring, and there was only me and another great Irish cyclist, Liam Horner, picked. And I had come back from Jamaica, where I rode the Commonwealth Games, and I had a really good result in Jamaica. I finished 5th. It was one of the best results that anybody had from here. And when I come home, there was a ticket that I was picked for the Worlds in Germany. Right? There was no team manager, there was nothing. And you also had to pay £10 towards it. Right. £10 was a lot of money then.
Yes.
So they just give you flight tickets. And I remember I flew from Aldergrove then till London. I got a plane from London to Dusseldorf in Germany, and then I had to get a train because the championships, as I say, was on the Nürburgring in the Black Forest. So I got a train then down, but I had to get out at Cologne because that's where all the headquarters that the UCI had set up, where you went in and signed on, got your numbers and all that.
Right.
Got back on the train. I'm on my own, and can't speak a word of German. And finally got to a wee place called Ander. It's in the bottom of the Black Forest, wee town. And finally found a wee boarding house, and I was able to get bed and breakfast and food. Now, people would laugh nowadays. I had my cycling gear in a saddlebag, Donna, on the back of the bike. This is the way it was. And I came out the next morning and I had a ride up the Nürburgring, and I knew it was about 10k. It was 10k straight up. It was a terrible play. And I got up there, and you imagine these things. I thought the Nürburgring would be a big place, near like a small city. It's nothing. There's just the pits and one hotel. Right. So I got up there and I'm going towards the hotel, and I met Les West, the English boy, who's a good friend of mine, and Colin Lewis, who had rode a lot of races in England with him. And he said, "Well, we're in here." He says, "But the British team is it completely booked out?" And then I thought, that sounds right, because when I've been down in Under, all the pros, fans and all were down there, so they must have all been staying down there. So I went over in the hotel, and the manager says "No, we have no room." And the boys wanted me to get a bunk bed. And he says, "No." He says, "Tell you what, you eat here, and that's my house across the road," he says, "and you stay there." Right? So I went over, and his wife was fixed up. But the best thing was Liam Horner turned up then in the afternoon, nowhere to stay. So the manager was very good. He says, "Right, and they put a tent up in the garden. And they go, you're riding the World Championships the next day, and there you're. That's the way, and that's just the way it was.
To make that story small, and just for the young riders as well, now they complain if they have to even cycle to a race. In your time, if you got a bed to sleep, you were already half a professional, you know. So.
Yeah, in the local races then, we had things in the front of our bike called sprint carriers. Right. They fitted onto your front axle.
Right.
And your two good wheels slotted into them. And you put toe straps around the handlebars. Right. So you rode to the event with these wheels, and then when you got to the event, you took your wheels out, your training wheels, put these wheels in, and that was you. You know, there was a big race at 2 at Lanes. I actually won it 5 times. And what we've done, we got the train from Belfast to Larne. Then we rode from Larne to Carnlough. And rode 85, 90 mile race, and then had a ride back again. But it stood till you, Danny, when you went away to ride the big events then, which was 100 mile, 120 mile, you know, like the Manx International. I rode it 12 times, and like it was 113 mile.
I know. Do you not think, Dave, that the distances now are a bit too short?
Well,
the juniors, the girls, whatever, they really, really, like 50, 60 miles race, and you send them to the continent to do double nearly that something.
I know, that's a big problem here. It's very hard for young ones here to get that type of racing to be able to move forward unless they go and live somewhere else.
Yes.
You know, I think I rode in one of the best eras in Ireland, because we had, like, I won the Belfast to Derry race on open roads. Like Belfast to Derry, I started at Glencormley and I finished up on the Gallon up on top of the hill. And that was a good win for me, because I was one of the few days I actually dropped Billy Kerr, you know, and that was on open roads, and we had the Tour of the Mourns. I won it a couple of times with the Tour of Mid-Down. It started at the Fever Hospital and all around County Down, over the Rib Road, over the Spelgan and back. And
Jesus, some hard races.
They were hard.
You've been 3 times in the Commonwealth Games as well.
Yeah.
So, what was your best result in that?
In Jamaica, I was 5th.
Right.
Just missed
missed
the bronze medal.
Right.
Actually, they always got good value for me because I rode the track on the road.
Right.
So
you done the track as well?
I usually rode the pursuit and then it wasn't called the scratch race. It was called the 10 mile on the track. I rode that, and I rode the pursuit, and then I rode the road race.
See, the reason that I started the Belgian project was through Cormac's advice at the time, to get experience in the continent, because they can't get it here, get in bigger groups, you know, to learn the technical stuff of it really, you know. Now this is nearly over because I don't find the families anymore to look after them, but I still help them financially a bit, you know, because I've seen that in the last 20 years the Irish cycling has really improved. This year, come on.
That's brilliant. You know, you have Rafferty's, you have young Haley, you have all these lads coming on, and they're getting results there, and they're young too. It's great to see that. And someone's getting picked up. I remember like riding Isle of Man against Eddie Merckx, you know, in '63, because '64 he won the amateur world championships. And then he turned pro in '65, and then I was good friends with Tommy Simpson too. And this evening now, cycling, it's a world body, but it's a close-knit community. Even this last weekend, the tragedy about the young Swiss rider. Everybody felt that, you know, we're all a close-knit community, and riders, you know, big top pros don't look down on younger riders. I remember I was at the World Championships, and Barry Hoban and Tommy Simpson and myself was going out round the circuit on the Nuremberg ring, actually, just to see what the course was like. And my old gears weren't great. And Tommy Simpson says, "Kane, that bike of yours making a noise." He says, "Tommy, them gears, I've used them all year, you know." He says, "After tea, come over to me." So I come over to him, and he took me round the Campagnola service wagon.
Right.
He was always at the races to help riders, and he said something to them in French, and your man took my bike off me, stripped it down, put completely all new gears around on it, you know. And that was, at that time, Tommy was actually the defending world champion, you know, and I'm a nobody, but they realise you're doing your best and you're trying to in a sport, and they'll always...
Yeah, that's the moments that the people really don't see, isn't it, you know?
Yeah.
And he ended up with selling the stuff.
Yeah. And you know, like Sean Kelly, like Sean's a very good friend, you know, and Sean, they'd never pass you in the street, you know, because I was just going out of international race, and I was near the end when Sean was coming into the teams with us.
Right.
You know, and he was in the team with me, and I made him on. He was in the Tour Scotland team with me, and all the teams. And you had to guide him. You know, he had so much talent, but he just needed guided. You know, and
Dave,
he never forgets that. But
I think I'm through my questions, and I see my cameraman here. He wants to stop very soon because I could talk hours here to you, or the whole day, no problem. You know, because I like to find a lot of more. But this is great. We do it another time for a bit more.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm just interested. First of all, here the Kane Cycle Shop has been always nice and kind to me. You know, in the beginning of my Belgian because at the time, now I have the sponsors to keep going. But at the time it was raffles, things, anything to get a bit of money. I got a sponsor in the Bike Works in Bangor at the time. That's closed a long time already, and they were giving me £200, and it was like I thought I was a professional, you know, because I got £200, you know, and a sticker on my car, and off I went. You know, the £200 doesn't last long when you do traveling around here. But it was so interesting to talk to you, David. I just love this story, and I would love to hear more. But I don't want the people at home to follow, you know.
I'll tell you one before I end.
Yes, do.
You live in Newton Ards.
Yes.
And the Newton Ards family of cycling is the Kirks.
The Kirks, yes.
Billy and the
Billy,
whole family. And Lanny. Yeah. Lanny, Commonwealth Games, great rider. But Lanny learned a lesson from me one day, and I was old at the time. I was near a vet, and we were riding a big race, and I started in Glengormley, and I went over by Ballyclare, over all the climbs, and the brake was away, right? And I was in a group with Lanny, and come down near the end, and we were going through, and I seen we were pulling the riders back, so I stopped working, you see, and Lanny's back shouting at me, "Kane, come on, do your whack." "I'm not able, Lanny, I'm not able," you see. Right, and he's going. So we come into Temple Patrick, and we swung left up towards the finish. I jumped him because I'd saved everything just for one go, and I got across the 2 leaders, left them, and won the race.
Right.
And Lanny came in, he's raging, "Kane, you didn't work with us." I says, "Lanny, you learned something today."
Yeah.
"What's that?" He says, "It's not always the quickest rider that wins a race."
No, it's not.
You have to read a race.
Yes, that's true. Dave,
good to see you.
Great to talk to you.
No
you know, so and hopefully a long time still you'll be around us, because this year we had Jack Watson going, we had Eamon Burns going, you know, and I'm only 68, and I'm already getting afraid of getting older because my friends disappearing.
As I say to anybody, don't worry about it. As long as the birthdays keep coming, Donna.
Yes, I know.
You're all right.
I'm all right. Dave, cheers, mate.
No problem.
So, this was Dave Kane. Really interesting person to talk to, because at the time I wasn't here, before my time as well. But we won't find 2 Kaners in Northern Ireland, that's for sure. All the best, and thank you.